What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Sansom Sports Media Podcast. We're your hosts, Hunter and Michael, sitting here on the first day of March. Welcome to the best month in the world. I don't think that there's a better sports month between March Madness, conference tournaments, and all of the NCAA stuff going on. And then you add in like the Masters and all of these other things. And it's the best month, in my opinion, of the year, especially from a sports standpoint. Mike,
Baseball starts at the end of
it
March,
does.
and there is not a sport more that you can you can have a really poor year the year before and still feel like, hey, on opening day we got a chance.
It's my year.
Now, if you're the Rockies, it probably chance goes away about the fifth inning of the first game. But for even hey, everyone starts off 0-0.
Yep.
And then we go from there. But yes, it's always fun. March Madness, baseball starting. You mentioned the Masters. That's true too. It's always fun.
Yep.
You kind of get through these NBA months. NFL is kind of well past all of football for that matter.
Yeah.
So yeah.
With that, there were a handful of teams that did not end February very well yesterday. Notably, your NC States, your Californias, your Iowas, I think were the three biggest ones. On a good note, Clemson got a huge win over Louisville. Really impressed that they were able to get that. They are now safe. I had them locked. I was kind of squirmy about it last week. I'm now not worried at all. Clemson's at 7 or an 8 seed. Sorry, right now 9, somewhere in there. But they're in a good spot. They're not going to miss.
Let's just not lose to Georgia Tech in something stupid in the ACC tournament.
The good news is they could afford to do one of those two things and be okay.
Yeah,
so I feel a little bit better about my hopes now that they
maybe not both though.
One, but not both. I would agree.
Yeah.
Moving up, we'll do a Saturday recap real quick, and then we will move from there to some conference tournaments. Tomorrow is actually our first day, or I guess today when you all are listening to this, first day of conference.
The Atlantic Sun?
Horizon kicks off.
Oh, wow.
The play-in game, their bracket is terrible. They have a play-in game between the 10th and 11th team this year, and then they do the first round at campus sites. So 1 through 10, they all play. The play-in winner will travel to 1, whatever, and then they reseed the 4th and 5th overall teams out of that first 5 games. Will then play a 1-game play-in to get to the semifinals in Indianapolis on Sunday. It's atrocious, and then you have the normal semifinals and finals. Awful.
They would do better to just be one of those where the top 8 and then the 9 through 11 just don't make it.
Yes, but they're adding a 12th team next year in Northern Illinois, so all of that goes
is that right?
Yeah, so little chaos. You just got to kind of deal with it, and next year it'll change again. I think next year there's talk of them going to one site instead of doing it all at because right now they do some in Indianapolis and then some at home team sites.
Right.
They go to all at one site like Indy or something like that. Would be my assumption.
Like what the Missouri Valley does in Missouri, yeah.
But with that, the Horizon takes a week and a day to get done. So they start Monday, the 2nd, and then their championship game's actually the 10th. So we'll have more on that in a little bit. But kicking it off, Duke just destroyed Virginia. No real conversation there. Arizona took care of Kansas. UConn took care of Seton Hall, even though it was close. All 3 of those teams, I think, are still 1 seeds today. I will add, there is now a discussion after Florida beat Arkansas 111-77. There's now a discussion between Florida and UConn, for that number 1 overall seed or 4 overall seed on the one line there. I would be very intrigued to see what happens if both teams win out. I think if UConn loses another game, they drop off that one line.
So I think as much as the committee talks about the total body of work, they like to reward teams for non-conference wins in, say, November and December. My guess is I think UConn will still own the edge. And I think, didn't UConn beat Florida too? Because I know they had some pretty big non-conference wins. I know Illinois was 1, Kansas was another. They beat BYU, I think.
Yes, they did beat Florida.
Yeah. So
They beat them way back early season there. Yeah.
So
Again,
that might
probably
come
not,
in.
but it's at least worth discussing if there's a separation of, hey, they lose to X, Y, or Z, then suddenly we start to have conversations. Because UConn is not going to play good teams the rest of the way. They've already played Villanova twice. They've already played
St. John's
St. John's twice.
twice.
There's nothing else left. Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
twice.
there's nothing else.
There's nothing left. They're going to close up. Yeah, they have one game left. It's Marquette on the road next Saturday. Obviously, they're going to be number one in the Big East. They're going to win the conference. But if they would lose to Marquette and let's say Florida goes 2-0 this week, we might have a different discussion. We'll have to see what happens. But moving along, I think Florida's clearly 5 overall right now, and there's nobody even close. I have Houston kind of right there with them. Houston won 102-64. 40-point win is always nice, especially if it's over a non-tournament team. Good way to boost the metrics.
Ugh, Colorado, good night.
Yep.
That was the last chance. Goodbye.
Yeah, I've had them off for a while, but if you were holding out any hope, like I know you like to do, Mike, it was done after that one.
Oh yeah.
Michigan State, impressive performance today in Bloomington.
Yes.
It's not an easy
Yes.
place to win.
No.
Indiana was pretty desperate as well. Michigan State is actually going to be my 7 overall seed tomorrow morning. They are going to leapfrog about 4 different teams. 7 through 13 or 14 on the bracket is extremely clustered right now, and there's not necessarily a right order. Illinois got dismantled by Michigan. Iowa State lost to Texas Tech at home. Both of those games, Illinois and Iowa State, were home losses. Nebraska just continues to do what Nebraska's done all year, and that is just win games. But that non-conference schedule, like we talked about with UConn and Florida, the non-conference kind of dings Nebraska a little bit. Texas Tech. Go ahead.
That was Nebraska's first somewhat noteworthy win since the beginning of January.
Exactly. And that was, I mean, it's just USC. And I don't know if you all saw today. I know, Mike, you were working, but
I did see.
He got kicked off the team or let go of the team, however you want to pronounce it. He's not coming back. That was their leading scorer. USC is now done, in my opinion. They're not a tournament team without him. I don't know that they were a tournament team with him, but losing your best scorer, you're not going to be a tournament team on the best.
Something's wrong there.
Yeah. And I don't know the circumstances, so I won't speculate, but I do know that there have been behavioral issues like Auburn and stuff like that as well. So I wouldn't be shocked if there's something else going on. Texas Tech went into Hilton, beat Iowa State yesterday. I don't even know what to say. You lose Toppin, yet you look comparable, if not a little bit better after that. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Iowa State is so tough to trust.
Yeah.
This is kind of their third, let's call it head-scratching kind of loss.
Yep.
The one to Cincinnati, they lost another game on the road to a team that I don't know if it's going to make the field or not. Was it TCU or something, or was it?
Yeah, I'll look. They lost to TCU on the road, but
now that's not so bad, But
I mean, that's not a terrible loss by any
But now you lose at home to Texas Tech without their best player. I mean,
I have a hard time with Tech though because I mean Christian Anderson is suddenly playing with one of the best players in the country, and he's been good all year, but he's just like picked it up a whole nother notch when Toppin left. So little caveats there. I don't know exactly what to think on Tech, but Iowa State I'm very questionable of. Virginia lost big to Duke. Again, we already talked about Duke, but Virginia is just kind of there. They have a solid record, a pretty clean resume, solid metrics. I think they end up on the 4 line, but they're pretty volatile. I don't know that I would hate picking against them in the first round in one of those like 4-13 type of upsets there.
It's one of those weird 3-4 loss resumes that doesn't have as much as you might think, even with the Q1A wins.
It's kind of like Gonzaga a lot of years, except you're playing in the ACC and not the WCC. And
which is weird.
The ACC is a little bit better, but still, like, I mean, they're going to put 8 teams, 9 teams in the tournament this year, but it's still not like high ball like the Big 12 or the SEC.
There are some teams that I think USC, Iowa, some others that for a long time lived off of pretty solid Q1, Q2 records,
Yeah.
but didn't have a ton behind it.
Yeah.
And it's caught up all of a sudden. What was like 10-7 is now like 10-10,
Yeah.
or 8-3, or whatever it was is now 9-8 or 9-9. And the lack of good wins in there still exists.
Yeah.
Iowa has Indiana and Nebraska. And like I said, Nebraska has won that Nebraska's win over Indiana or over USC. That was their first win that Nebraska's had over a team even remotely near the conversation of the tournament
Yeah.
since the beginning of November.
Yep.
So now Iowa's got these two pretty questionable to bad losses.
Yeah.
Which had they won one of them, I think they're already a lock at this point.
Yeah.
Now they
I
got
don't
a
have them
couple of
locked, but they're
tough games to finish, and then I don't know who they're going to play. If they lose to Michigan and I think they actually play Nebraska again, and this one's on the road.
Yeah.
If they lose to both, they're probably playing a bubble or non-tournament team in the Big Ten tournament.
Yep.
You don't want to finish on like a 4-game losing streak here,
yeah.
especially with a couple losses that you don't want to take.
Like they're an 8 seed, and it would be very hard to find them falling all the way out. Sorry, my dogs are in the background. Be very, very hard for me to see them falling from an 8 all the way out, especially with the carnage along the bubble right now. But that's not to say they couldn't end up playing in like a 7-10 game, but being a 10 seed instead of what we thought was going to be a 7 seed. Rewind, Bama, Vanderbilt, Tennessee. I will be in Knoxville to see Tennessee and Vandy play on the last day of this regular season. Pretty excited for that matchup. Looking at Bama, I think they've got the clear edge on that Final Four seed at the moment, but that trio is just an interesting grouping to me.
I agree. I think Alabama might be the leader of that trio now.
Agreed.
I think now there's more decent wins since Bediako's situation kind of evaporated over that I think you can evaluate this more as like a complete team.
Yeah. And Bediako, they did not play well with Betty. Like, it's not like they were winning by 40 every game.
Yeah.
Like, if the committee wants to, like, knock them for those 3 losses or 3 wins, they're going to have to also take those 2 losses away and be like, all right, he impacted that. And honestly, I don't know if their resume gets worse with those. I mean, I know they had a couple decent wins, but, like, it's not crazy to think that the resume is better without him than it was with him.
Yeah.
So I think Bama's good. I have them actually ahead of Virginia right now, but both of those are floating on the 4 line there for me, 15 and 16 overall.
I kind of felt like the committee leaving Alabama out of the top 16 was more of a we don't like what you were doing kind of a thing. I don't know that they'll do it again to them.
If they do it again, personally, I love it because I like that we're going to punish that in the only way we can. But that's also a terrible thing to do to somebody at this point. They've paid for it. They've made their bed. They have to lie in it. I get it, but
the rest of the kids shouldn't have to suffer necessarily. Most of which were probably like, why does this guy have to play with us? But you go with what you're told to do.
Yeah, you go out there and you play basketball. That's all they're doing.
Yeah,
so I get it. I think they've been punished enough, and they can kind of move on from that. Arkansas fell back a little bit for me with that loss to Florida. As bad as it was, anytime you lose by like 40 points, you're going to fall.
Yeah, you don't want to do that too often.
North Carolina beat Virginia Tech by 7. Where all eyes are waiting on Caleb Wilson, and if he'll return, I think he's going to for the Duke game, but we will have to see what happens. I have them as the top 5 seed right now. St. John's took care of Villanova at the Garden, beat them by 30. We talked about it a little bit offline, but St. John's remains a 5 seed at the moment, just on the back end. They're kind of hovering where they've been for a couple weeks. What are your thoughts on the Johnnies?
It's tough when you're only playing a couple of like really meaningful games for what a long time now.
Yes.
They played UConn tough. They just dismantled. You just mentioned Nova, and again, Nova 0-4 against UConn and St. John's. It's a good thing for them that Wisconsin picked up the wins that they did down the stretch of the season
Yep.
because there is nada anywhere else.
Yep. And and I'm not saying they're similar to Miami of Ohio because they're not, but they've
No.
also amassed so many wins that it's just hard to see a 22 or 23 win power conference team getting left out of the field, regardless of how down the conference is. These are still top 100 teams. It's still impressive to do this night in and night out.
When we're talking about teams that are still in the teens and may not get to 19 or 20 wins, having a
Yes.
chance, and Villanova is 22-7, as empty as it is. In a way, it's kind of not their fault that the rest of the league is
Yeah.
down.
I mean, you can only do what you can do in front of you. And that's what we say about Miami all year. Villanova tried. They scheduled BYU. They scheduled Wisconsin. Like, they did schedule these good opponents, and it just didn't work out for them.
It's not their fault that Creighton and Seton Hall and others couldn't hold on to win. Seton Hall would be a tournament team if they could play the last 4 minutes of games.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, that UConn game they had, and then they didn't.
Yep. They were up until they weren't. And
Yeah. I mean,
it's the Big East is interesting. I'm really curious to see what this offseason holds for the conference.
It also doesn't help Nova that the rest of the Big Five, so to speak, not very good this year.
Extra bad. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think Penn is going to make the Ivy League tournament. Temple's not very good, and LaSalle is not very good and a not very good A10.
Yes. And good news, Penn will make the tournament they clinched yesterday.
Oh, they did? Okay.
Fran's got him back. Don't you worry.
Okay. We'll see.
Moving on to BYU, 79, 71 loss.
Not good.
Loss. I just noticed the article has a typo in it. Apologies for those of you who read that today. Moves him to the back of the 6 line. I've seen people have them like Harry Miller, I think, has him as an 8 right now. Like, they're a very wide margin type of team. I might put them on the 7 line. Just that's where I feel like they end up. But they're in a very cramped, weird position right now. I don't know what to do with them.
And what happened to Sanders again?
Tore his ACL. He's done.
Yeah, so that's done.
They're not missing. I will be very. They did beat Iowa State without him. They will be okay.
Yeah.
But I do think an 8 seed is probably where they end up. They're very volatile. They're going to continue to get past like throughout the week, and especially if they take another loss or two, they're going to fall.
The crazy thing is they were struggling to beat high-end tournament teams with him.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, AJ DeBonta is going to take this team just as far as they can go, and I'm not sure that that's past the Sweet 16 if you even go that far.
Yeah, especially if they do trend down to the 8-9 area. I mean, exactly. What 1 seeds do you think? I mean, besides UConn, that seems kind of.
I don't even know that UConn seems that iffy from that standpoint. I think UConn beat them by 15 or so.
Yeah,
and I mean, the other 3 are definitely going to beat them big, in my opinion. So
I think it's crazy that Arizona's 3 overall.
Yes.
With what they've done.
I mean, but look at how good Duke and
I know
did this year. It is. I have to I got to talk on the radio tomorrow, locally here, and I can't get over putting these 1 seeds together. I'm like, these are 3 1 overall seeds any other year, but I just don't get it. Putting all that together, I'm like, this is just crazy this year.
We talked about Arizona last week about what they had done after they had gotten the Houston or the Kansas win, whichever big win they added to their collection.
They had a Kansas weekend.
Yeah. So, I mean, 27-2 against what is a top 20 strength of schedule.
Yep.
13-2 in Q1 with 5 Q1A wins. I mean, and we're talking about 7 wins against teams in the top 25 of the net.
Yep.
I mean, that's insane. 8-1, 12-1 away from home.
Yep.
Number 3 overall, folks.
Yeah. Kind of keeping rolling down our 6-7 line here. Kentucky 91-77 win over Vanderbilt at Rupp. They really needed that, I think, to help the fan base more than they did anything.
Yeah.
Fan base, it's obviously Kentucky. They get loud very quickly. Your UK's fine. They're going to be a 6 seed for me when my bracket comes out tomorrow. They're in a really good spot, and that helped just kind of solidify their footing there.
I locked them after they beat South Carolina. and that only puts it even further beyond.
Yeah,
So, you know, so
absolutely. We already talked about Iowa. Again, this Penn State loss would have probably been a lot bigger of a story had there not been teams like NC State who lost to Notre Dame and Cal who lost to Pitt that we're going to get to in a minute. But Iowa stays on that 7. I might drop them. They're going to end up dropping to an 8 with NC State. Those bad losses are going to hurt you a little bit, but it's still not even a full seed line. It's just 2 or 3 spots.
all the Big Ten teams that I hadn't locked or were clearly long out of the picture that were in action this weekend, except for Wisconsin and Ohio State, all lost.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
If you're not at the top of the top of the conference, definitely ate the bottom of the conference this weekend, and it's going to hurt your teams like Indiana and USC.
And the bottom two.
Yeah.
Like, Minnesota, snuck up and beat UCLA when had UCLA won, that would have probably locked them for me. And now we wait. USC really has imploded, as we talked about. We mentioned the Iowa loss. Indiana couldn't get it done. Fortunately, Ohio State did, and Wisconsin did. So Wisconsin to lock. Ohio State is probably in the field right now.
Yep.
And I still think, well, they definitely need to win. Was it the Penn State game?
Yep.
And then we'll see about the game after that.
Yep. Just kind of see what happens.
Yeah.
And good news for the rest of the Big Ten. The rest of the country also did not do well if you weren't locked.
No.
So we're going to get down. We're starting to get into the bubble teams. St. Mary's and Utah State, both with big wins. Obviously, beating Gonzaga for St. Mary's is monumental and season defining. They're a 7 seed. I don't see them missing at this juncture.
It would take a lot.
They could only take one more loss, and I don't think that's enough to get them there. I'm not going to lock them just because I stopped locking teams on March 1st, but they're fine.
I think if Santa Clara advances to play them, they're safe.
Oh, absolutely, yes. The only way that happens is if you get like a freak run from like a Pacific or something, and you take a really bad landmine, and then
even Pacific isn't that bad this year. This isn't the 300 net team that we're used to.
Yeah, exactly.
The ACC bubble wasn't much better than the Big Ten. Virginia Tech played North Carolina tough, but playing them tough is not winning.
Yeah.
Clemson probably did, pretty much lock up their bid, if not already. But NC State, which I didn't have as a lock, definitely not now. Miami, they're probably good to go, but I'm going to wait. Yeah, I think they're fine.
NC State's also going to get in the tournament.
I think so too. Yeah. But Cal, that just cannot happen.
That is the quintessential, I'm on the bubble. I know I'm on the bubble. There's a lot of pressure, and I'm going to crumble. Losing by,
16 at home to Pitt and shooting 43%, 23%, 5 of 22 from 3. I mean, couldn't make anything anywhere. What is it? Well, I guess they made some 2s, but if you shoot 5 of 22 from 3, it kind of doesn't matter when 22 of your 76 shots come from there. Pitt's got to the free throw line 16 times to their 7, and at home, 16 turnovers, never led in the game. It was pretty ugly. And after trying to be like, hey, Cal's got some decent wins, and then they do that. SMU's still not a lock. I mean, we're waiting, but
and then you lose by 20 to Stanford.
Yeah,
I don't remember if I have them locked. I think they're fine, but again, I mean, that's the kind of loss that'll drop you almost a full seed line. They are going to end up on my. Ooh, they're going to end up on my 11 line.
Does Stanford still have a chance now? No.
They've looked so bad with the injuries that I don't see it. Realistically, there's about 4 teams that we're going to talk about that actually have a chance. Outside of that, these teams just aren't there this year.
I mean, they still got to go beat Notre Dame and NC State on the road, both games. That's tough. I mean,
if you want to do that and then us have the conversation, sure, maybe we can.
Go for it.
But I don't. We'll do it then.
I am not convinced they even win at Notre Dame, let alone NC State.
Exactly. Yeah. I'd be shocked if they beat NC State.
Yeah.
We talked about Clemson with ACC teams. Did want to touch on Utah State and St. Louis. Kind of feel like they wrapped up bids this weekend. St. Louis beat Duquesne pretty big. They're going to be an 8 seed. Utah State took care of Grand Canyon. They're a 7. UCF lost to Baylor. I do think
Ugh.
UCF is fine.
Yeah.
However, they are going to move up in my seed list just because of how bad everything was around them. A 1-point loss to Baylor at home, I can live with that, especially with the wins UCF has.
Yeah.
But when you have Iowa's and the NC States of the world losing by 20 to subpar teams, you get lucky. Moving along, Georgia and Missouri. What are your thoughts on those?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Considering what happened with the rest of the bubble with this weekend,
yeah,
I don't see Missouri missing the tournament.
Agreed.
I just don't. I mean, I don't love their strength of schedule for the most part.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is an NCAA tournament resume. Am I picking them to go to the Final Four? No. But is this a tournament team? Yes. I mean, they're 20-9. Their resume-based metrics are all top 45. There's 2 around 33. 5 and 6 in Q1. They beat Florida. I mean, how good we've been talking about Florida.
They're
they won at Kentucky. They beat Vanderbilt and Tennessee at home. I mean, they've beaten a lot of the other SEC bubble teams. There's really no reason not to think they're a tournament team. I guess the only pause is finishing with Oklahoma and Arkansas.
Even then, those aren't bad losses.
Those aren't bad losses, right?
And I mean, Oklahoma's not great, but it's still not terrible.
As long as you're not taking a loss to like South Carolina or Mississippi State in the SEC tournament, you should be fine.
Yep, agreed.
Am I locking them? No, but I don't think they're going to miss.
It's like the 98%, like where you're not going to miss, but you're just kind of there. Georgia and Missouri, I think, are almost in the exact same position. We talked a lot about Mizzou just now, but Georgia, not as high quality of wins, but I think they're still pretty safely in the field. I've got both of them as my last 2 9 seeds right now.
Yeah, I mean, you lose to Vanderbilt, you beat South Carolina. They picked up the big win over Texas, who Texas is
probably a tournament team.
Probably. That was not a good result for A&M.
No. A&M and Texas literally flipped. Those were the biggest movements I actually had this weekend.
Yeah.
Texas jumped 5 spots. A&M fell 5 spots along the bubble.
Texas has the Alabama and Vandy wins.
Yep.
A&M does not have that at all.
And that is why Texas is my top 10 seed, and A&M is currently slated to go to Dayton.
Texas has the NC State win.
Yep.
They don't. A&M didn't have anything in non-conference like that. The only thing they had was Florida State, which I guess looks better now. But
right, but to be very honest with A&M, nobody expected them to be where they are.
Yeah.
For our teams like our Texas's, they came in big budget. They were supposed to be good this year. So I would argue that it's been a better year for A&M than it has for Texas. But it's just relative to expectations. I think Bucky will have them going quickly.
Texas still needs to beat Oklahoma to finish the regular season if they don't beat Arkansas. Yeah. 17 and 13 seemed reserved for like the Auburn, but I don't think it's quite reserved for Texas. I mean, they have played a tough schedule, but it's weird that they're 7-8 in Q1 and 1-2 in Q2 and 2-1 in Q3.
Exactly. If they didn't have a Q3 loss, I'd probably have them locked at this point with the Q3 loss. But that little blemish can really just start to derail a resume. Speaking of Auburn, 15-14 does not get in the tournament.
I don't think so.
They're out, and it's kind of the same sentiment as Miami of Ohio. If I'm missing this because I'm on principle of this, that's fine. I'll miss it.
Right.
But Auburn is not in the field until they're at least 2 games above 500.
They don't look like a tournament team right now.
They lost to Ole Miss.
Yeah. I get it that they played a tough schedule. Number 1, number 2. So was Alabama. They're not 15 and 14.
Exactly.
There's a difference between a tournament team and a non-tournament team.
Exactly.
And this has not been a tournament team for a month or so. This looks like a team that was set up to have a so-so roster with a coach they thought they knew, with a really tough schedule, and all of a sudden it wasn't any of that.
There are probably 4 or 5 losses that are coaching, just straight coaching driven. I don't
Really?
have their schedule in front of me, but
Yeah.
if you have Bruce Pearl instead of Stephen Pearl, you probably pick up a couple of these games that they lost. Just honest.
Um, and if
But
not for that tip at the buzzer against Kentucky, this is donezo right
yeah,
now.
agreed. So they'll stay right on the bubble. I think they're second or third team out for me right now. So right there, but for now they are out. TCU beat Kansas State at Kansas State. Not a marquee win, but it does help stabilize them a little bit, especially as teams around them lose. Santa Clara beat Oregon State 93-72. All they did was just not lose, and they're going to move up spots just because of that. They didn't have to pick up a big win. They just got okay. They're my second team out of Dayton right now. I've got them sitting at number 45 overall, which is improvement for them. New Mexico, 81-76 over San Diego State. Really important win. They came back. They were actually trailing for a good chunk of the game, came back and won it. New Mexico fills in as my final 10 seed for Monday morning's bracket update. USC, we talked about at depth. VCU beat Fordham 82-63. VCU's resume is kind of sneaky. They're kind of just there. And I actually am putting them in the field. But if you have them out, I completely understand as well. They're just that team that is kind of filling in that last spot. I am begging for there to be a bid stealer or two.
You mentioned New Mexico. Let's talk about the flip side of the result.
Yep.
San Diego State, that feels like about the third game this year that San Diego State wishes they would have liked to have had back.
Yeah.
The Grand Canyon game, the Utah State first one, and then this one.
Yep.
2 of those 3 go the other way. They're probably in the field, and
probably an 8
I won't say comfortably, but in.
Yeah, 8 or 9 type of seed, they'd be fine.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, here we are, and
here we are
out.
Yeah,
they're not. I mean, they're a win away from jumping back in, but they are about 3 or 4 teams,
which is crazy to me.
Yeah,
because they really haven't looked like a tournament team much of the year.
No, but nobody has. I mean, to be fully honest, this is I won't say the weakest bubble until we finish the year, but it's very close to the weakest bubble I've ever seen. And I mean, I've been following college basketball just for 10 years, but still, like, it's bad. It's very bad at this point.
Again, we don't need to expand.
Exactly. Guys. Seton Hall, Oklahoma State, we've already kind of touched on both. They took bad results this weekend. Both feel like they're pretty much done at this point. West Virginia beat BYU 79-71 at home, but a solid win over a tournament team maybe keeps them on life support. And then Cincinnati beat Oklahoma State 91-68. I also think it keeps them on life support, but we're talking very, very.
I gotta see if I still had West Virginia on my page. I think, yeah, I did. So they'll stay there, obviously. Yeah. Maybe move up.
They're going to be, I think, 8th out for me, 9th out for me. But they're just kind of there as a placeholder. I don't think they'll get up and in. Same thing with Cincinnati.
I'm probably taking both Colorado and Oklahoma State off the page if we're being honest here.
I would, yeah. Both Cincinnati and West Virginia have resume metrics of 62.7. Both of them need to jump that up to like 55 to have a chance.
And the wins above bubble is like below 50, I think, for both, right? Yeah.
Yeah. WAB's 60 for WVU and 66 for UC. Predictive metrics do help Cincinnati a little bit. They sit at 40 average. That could help them. They do have the 2 really, really high-end wins, but they also lost to Eastern Michigan.
That's the problem.
So,
for everyone that thinks it's easy to win all those Q4 games.
Exactly. Miami of Ohio did beat Eastern Michigan.
Oh, man.
They also took drama to end up beating Western Michigan at the buzzer without 2 of their best players. It was a crazy game.
I don't know about you, but that was one of the games where it just felt like, this isn't the night. They were having one of those nights where shots just weren't going in. The defense was okay. I don't know. Some of the missed shots was probably due to Western Michigan not being very good.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it just felt like, it's just not going to happen today. I mean, they're one of their better players fouls out with about 7 minutes left. They're already down 1 guy. They go up 9, and it just seemed like, I don't know.
I was ready to feel like it and start panicking about the path and everything. And then here we go.
And then they came back, and that was, when you see on your, play-by-play tracker, layup with 1 second left, fine. But when you see the replay, you're like, wow, that was not an easy layup.
It was a true freshman.
Yeah.
Perry is a freshman. He is their third string point guard, and he was forced into a big minutes.
Yeah.
Their starting point guard went down, and then Eli Skoljak was down tonight. Like, they're down all of these guys, and then suddenly you look around and their point guard's saving the season.
So now what's left? Is it Bowling Green or something, and then Ohio?
Toledo and then Ohio.
Toledo and then Ohio.
And then Ohio's on
Okay.
the road. I think that if they lose one game and then make it to the MAC championship game and lose, they'll get in.
Definitely want to beat the Toledo first.
Yes, at home you want to beat Toledo. You could maybe lose to Ohio and get in. I would advise just finishing out the regular season.
Win both the games, and then I mean, the wins above bubble is going to be somewhere well above 2.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're fine. They're
and you can't drop more than 1 wins above bubble kind of thing in a game, because that's kind of the way it's set up.
Exactly.
So
they'll be fine. A lot of people keep referencing the no 29 win teams ever been left out metric. That is only with D1 wins. So
right.
You do have to subtract 3 from Miami's win total right now, which puts them at 27-0 or 26-0. Sorry.
Right.
So you do need 3 more wins technically to hit that metric. So just wanted to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
With that, let's talk some conference tournaments for a little bit. Anything else you wanted to mention before we move on to that? Okay.
I think most of the there was a lot more playing their way down or out than there was playing your way up and in.
Yes, absolutely. Speaking of playing your way in, you want to win the tournament, you got to win 6 games in a row if you're LMU, San Diego, Pepperdine, or Portland. That being said, Gonzaga, St. Mary's, you just have to win 2.
Yeah.
St. Mary's, Gonzaga, Santa Clara come in as the overwhelming favorites. The last time we'll see the WCC with these members, what are your thoughts? Who's winning it?
I don't know what it is about, St. Mary's and Randy Bennett. They seem to find a way to they have like this blueprint of beating Gonzaga. Yeah. Too bad they don't have the same blueprint in the NCAA tournament.
Correct.
So I'll take St. Mary's. It's crazy to me that LMU fell all the way to 10.
Yeah, same. I will take St. Mary's as well. Is there a sleeper that you think or anything like that?
Seattle? Feels like a sleeper, maybe.
The only issue is, can they win?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
They got to beat LMU, Pacific, Santa Clara. Right. Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I love the staggered brackets like this.
Mm-hmm.
I understand why people don't like them because it does suck for your bottom end teams. But there are scenarios like, and I don't think I have this one today, but the Sun Belt where there's a 6-way tie and you get screwed out of a bracket that way. I get it, but I do like this model. I think one of Gonzaga, St. Mary's, or Santa Clara wins it. And my money's, honestly, I'm probably picking St. Mary's to pull the upset at this time.
Okay.
Moving ahead here, let's do something I'm familiar with and excited about. Horizon League. I'll be in Indianapolis for the 9th and 10th for this. Like I said, it is very weird with what we're doing with seeding. So that first game and then 5 home court games, and then they reseed 1 through 5 basically. And then the second or the 2 worst teams have to play an extra play-in game to even get to the semifinals. Crazy to me, but here we are. Who's your pick and why?
This is like one of the most wide open ones that I can think of.
It is.
There is not like a dominant team. Wright State's pretty good. Robert Morris has come on towards the end.
Yeah.
Oakland kind of started strong and has struggled lately. Be a really funny story if Green Bay somehow won this.
It'd be amazing.
Don't see it, but
you say you don't see it, but at the same time, I don't see anybody winning this. 1 through 8, genuinely, I could see winning this tournament. Maybe not Detroit or Purdue, Fort Wayne, but other than that, any of them could.
The one thing outside of the NC State Notre Dame game that for a moment, supposedly according to ESPN, had ended in a tie, somebody does have to win these games.
Yes.
So I'll trust Greg Campion somehow to figure out Oakland.
As much as I want to pick NKU, they're too up and down. I do think NKU gets past Oakland and makes it to Indianapolis, but I'm going to take Robert Morris to win it. That's the hottest team in the conference, and it's not.
Yeah, feels like it.
Yeah. So I'll take them. Moving ahead, there's not really a sleeper. They're all like good, and I don't even know if there's worth trying a sleeper. So let's move to the Big South. High Point, overwhelming favorites, especially with the Winthrop injuries. What are your thoughts?
It feels like High Points to lose. Winthrop, if they were healthy, that's different.
Yeah, if Duncombe's okay, I would take Winthrop, but if not, it's High Point.
Radford, I guess, UNC Asheville, kind of the sleepers. Otherwise, it'd be a surprise if anyone other than one of the top four won it.
Agreed. And they do reseed as well. They've got the play-in game and then the 4 first-round games, and then they'll reseed the 4 teams remaining there.
Always a fun tournament, too.
Yeah. Almost. I was considering making the trip over. I'll be in Knoxville on Saturday. I was thinking about hopping over to Johnson City, but not in the cards this time. Have to do it next year. A-Sun down in Jacksonville.
Another one I like.
Another one that I like the way they have it set up with the buys and everything. I do really like the setup of this tournament. Austin Peay, despite being the 2 seed, feels like the team that I had thought was going to win it all year. So I'll go with them. Who's your pick?
Give me Queens in their first year as being eligible to participate in the NCAA tournament.
I like it. That was my sleeper pick, so I don't hate it at all. I think this is another one that you just see the top teams in the conference kind of take care of business.
Decent first year for West Georgia.
Yeah. Anytime you're not finishing last, it's a good year.
Yeah.
Speaking of decent years.
Oh, boy.
New Haven here. Where'd they go?
Yeah.
Where are they?
Not bad. Are they not participating?
Let me look. Here I was trying to talk about it. I'm wondering if is it a 9-team conference?
It is, yes.
Damn. The one time I try to say something nice about New Haven. Never again. No, Mercyhurst, FTU. That 5 spot should be New Haven. I'll have to fix this graphic.
Okay.
That's interesting because this got put out by the conference. So I'll have to figure that out. Maybe it is a situation where they don't even put their teams in. I don't know. I'll have to look at it. But New Haven did end up finishing 14-17 on the year and that 9-9 in conference. So really good first year for them. They would be an eligible tournament. I think that's what the NEC is doing here. That being said, who's your pick? LIU should win this, and it shouldn't be close, in my opinion. But what's your thoughts?
I think Central Connecticut State has a chance. But yeah, I think Long Island is definitely the favorite here. So we'll go with that.
I like it. Moving ahead, Summit League. I am desperate to see North Dakota State and St. Thomas play in the championship.
Give me St. Thomas.
Agreed. It's such a great story.
Yep.
That team is not going to be staying in the Summit League long. They are moving up. I don't know where, and I don't know.
I thought I heard the West Coast, but
so I've heard a handful of different things with them.
Big Sky.
Yeah, I've heard some of those, but then I've also heard could they move? Could they try to jump to higher than that? So we'll see what happens. I've heard MVC thrown out. There's been names. Remember, regionality means nothing anymore.
No, not at all.
That being said, I think it's St. Thomas, North Dakota State. Maybe North Dakota has a shot, but I think it's those two kind of running the conference this year.
When was the last time South Dakota State was down at a 7?
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
It's absolutely been a minute. I was doing a game preview the other day and noticed how awful that was. So, yeah. SoCon. Feels like East Tennessee State has just flown under the radar. Nobody's talked about them, but here they are as the best team in the conference. What are your thoughts?
This is another one where I'm surprised to see, like, say, UNC Greensboro at 7, Furman at 6
And
seeded.
Chattanooga at 8 even. I mean, all of those
Yeah.
just down. This feels wide open. You could tell me Furman, Samford, Wofford, ETSU, obviously, or Mercer, any of them I feel like could win. West Carolina could pull off an upset or two. I don't know if they're going to win it, but there's a handful of really good games here.
Samford Furman right there is pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, those
Um,
first two, the 4-5 and the 3-6 games are going to be absolutely awesome to watch.
I'm pretty sure Chattanooga and UNC Greensboro roll.
Yeah.
And then who knows? I mean, Wofford, UNC Greensboro is usually a pretty fun little rivalry.
Yeah. Could get chaotic. I'll take ETSU to win it.
Throw it up in a hat and come down with Furman, I'll go with. I don't know.
I like it. Fair enough. MAAC. This will be the last year of this being called the MAAC conference. It is getting a new name this spring. Merrimack, Siena, St. Peter's, Quinnipiac, Marist have all been really good. This is another one that I think feels wide open, but Merrimack has come on strong and stayed strong, so I'll take them to win it.
Let's see if I'm going to go with St. Peter's to find the March Magic again.
Yes, I like that. Let's do it. Patriot League. Can anybody topple Navy, or is this just Navy's to just run with?
I'm used to Colgate.
Exactly. Colgate's the number 3 seed, and I don't even think I've thought about them once this year or this week when I was thinking about this. I'm taking Navy to win it, and that's that.
This year, I don't think Colgate has the right paste going there.
No, they do not.
I'll take Navy.
It's a really impressive story throughout the year, so I'm glad to see them doing that. Final one that we're going to do tonight, OVC. This is one where if you wanted to tell me, it's another ladder bracket. If like an SIUE or a Lindenwood or a Little Rock even, I mean, any of those could make a run here and end up in the championship game. That being said, Tennessee State, Morehead State absolutely get the benefit of the doubt with how this sets up. I'm going to take Morehead, who's been hot recently, to win it. What are your thoughts?
I agree.
I would love to see UT Martin get to the championship and get to play them, interact with kind of their coach and fan base a little bit this year, and
they've been
to watch. So I'd like to see them have some success. I do think there's a 99% chance the OVC champ is going to be in Dayton.
Yeah, I agree.
I have Morehead and Tennessee State. Either one would both be projected out that way right now.
That once Belmont and Murray State left the league, that's kind of where we're at here.
Yep. Agreed. With that, what else? Anything else? I know we didn't do the Sun Belt. It's a ladder bracket. It had a ton of teams tied. I think they ended up with six-way tie for second. And the way tiebreakers fell out, some teams just got really screwed in it. But I just don't have it up to pick. But I am going to take Marshall to win it, mainly because they're my home team, and I'll go with that.
Fair enough.
All right, guys. We'll be back here shortly with a little bit more bracketology implications, and we'll kind of go through some more of the tournament picture here as we wind down the season. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everyone.